boost for ignition, and liftoff, and all systems are go.
Welcome to the Lesbo and The Bean universe. Lesbo and The Bean. LaTB, LaTB, where mixed martial arts and the UFC get silly. Big silly. Buckle up and move your tray tables to their upright position. And please, somebody shut that baby up. It's time for Lesbo and The Bean.
Welcome back here at LaTB. If you've been listening all along, you know that we were saying this is going to be a hell of a fight card, and for me, it's standout, lo and behold, the fight card of the year so far. Unbelievable fights. Finishes, the few finishes we didn't have were fight of the year contenders.
It was a great fight night.
It was an amazing fight card. The pay-per-view was worth it. Even though before we get to the pay-per-view, we told you it wasn't going to happen. We knew Chev was somehow going to get fucked. Maybe we didn't know that. She was going to get screwed out of it.
You know what, though? That Chev energy was in the same fight. That Chev energy that everyone thought was going to happen was still dropped into the co-main event of the night. We'll talk about it when we get there, but if you watched UFC 228... to me, there is one moment specifically that stuck out over all moments.
There was a couple, but yes, I know what you're saying. That girl didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that.
It shouldn't have been her. It should have been me.
But, man, weigh-ins come about, and everybody's worried about Shabib, not Habib. We're talking about Zabist not making weight, T-Wood not making weight, Darren Till coming in 1.5 pounds under. Guess what? The commission doesn't know how to read the scale because it's not digital, and we in Texas.
We have an issue. We talk about this over and over again. Well, you know what? We've never said it on air, though. It's something we discuss. There needs to be a huge board behind the fighters with the numbers on it that are attached to the digital scale. It doesn't have to be the old school weights. They can calibrate it just as perfectly where they can drop whatever is a perfect weight on it, and they can even show the calibration at the beginning of weigh-ins with like some UFC weight that's gold it's the like perfect weight that comes in and then the numbers behind it. We can all see. There is no reason, because that guy done fucked up the weight.
Zabit all of a sudden is 1.5 pounds over and then steps off the scale.
His underwear off.
Doesn't take him off.
No, he's 2 pounds over, takes his underwear off, then he's 1.5 pounds over.
Something like that.
And then he steps all the way off the scale, and it's like confusion.
The commission says it's good.
You're good.
You're good. That's it. Oh, you're good. We read it wrong. You're good. What in the living fuck is going on?
And even T. Woods, when T. Woods was the pound over, he was confused.
Yeah, because he probably has his legit scale that he travels with that he's like,
I literally just weighed myself before I walked on the stage.
Exactly. He took off his little undies and ended up making weight either way. We didn't have anyone miss weight, but we did have somebody not show up to the weigh-ins. You know what I'm talking about. Nico Montano still holding on to that belt.
No, she does not.
Well, as far as
she
I
was
was
trying
seeing on Twitter, as far as I'd seen, people said that she wasn't going to get stripped. Evil Twin was saying there's no way she gets stripped. Tonsillitis sticks around for longer than you know, and I said, that's bullshit. She going to get stripped. She going to get stripped.
We all thought, or here at LaTB, we thought she was going to get stripped. Because we know it is all about the dollar amount you bring in. We're not stupid. You can play a purist if you want to. We're just being consistent with WME standards that we've noticed so far. And so far, if no one cares about you, you get less time to get better. You get less time. And Nico Montano, for all intents and purposes, it's been 9 months since she fought. She was sick because she had her tonsils out, which not most, but a lot of humans have had their tonsils out, and it doesn't take 9 months. You can get back to it.
Yep.
And then I've noticed a lot of people, because I also thought Nico Montano is scared. She's scared, and people are, how can you say a professional fighter would ever be scared? How dare you? You should respect Nico Montano. Like, why? No one ever chickened out before? So her electrolyte balance, the new thing is that it came out that she could have had a potential heart attack because her electrolytes were so low.
James Vick last week could have had a potential heart attack. How many other fighters? Henan Barao passing out, knocking his head on. He had a concussion and a potential heart attack. Chris Cyborg.
I'm not asking for that of her. I know. Misha Tate.
Chris Cyborg. Who was the one who was crying? Who was the one that was sitting there just crying? Fucking.
So I don't even need all that from her, but homegirl, you the champion, and a potential heart attack is like a panic attack because every single person interviewed you and asked you,
how do you feel about being the biggest underdog of all time as a incoming champion? Everybody said it nonstop. And
if you were the toughest person, that would get to you after a while. You might have a panic attack.
And especially when you're holding down a full-time librarian job and you come in straight from the library to the weigh-ins, you're going to get your head fucked with because...
with your PTA Birkenstock shoes on.
Exactly.
Right from a Sarah McLachlan concert.
Not saying the fighter has to look a certain way. Not saying they have to look a certain way, but I don't want them to be able to also know how to use a Dewey Decimal System. Like, it just doesn't matter anymore. Or it does matter. You just you come with it. You don't have to come out like Andrade with the full headdress.
The way America treats its indigenous people, they probably are still on the Dewey Decimal System.
Oh, I know it.
That's a political statement.
I went to public school. I know.
Public school, Dewey Decimal. Yeah, so that was a whole bunch of rambling, but we were fucking pissed.
Oh, it was horrible. We had to defend ourselves online, and rightfully so. It's all come out since, and we again feel like come out on top. The cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, no one wants that bullet fight, but the Murmurings are exactly what you said, and we got hate for it again. The Murmurings are that there's only one fight to make if you're going to put the title on the line at 125, and it's Joanna versus Shevchenko.
Makes absolute sense.
People are pissed. They're like, you're going to you just let Joanna lose again. Just let her lose again. So what? Maybe she loses again.
Maybe. That's a close-ass fight because this is MMA. This ain't kickboxing no more. We've been preaching that fight for a bit skis right now. But the 115 division just get an injection of action that we will finally get into once we start breaking this down from the bottom to the top.
Let's just get into it.
Because we had Jarrett Brooks coming in short notice against Roberto Sanchez, and you reminded me to remind you how American wrestling beats a lot of these jiu-jitsu guys that come in with just our jiu-jitsu. Jarrett Brooks was never in real trouble of getting submitted at all this entire fight. 30-27. One of the few decisions of the night. What did you take away from this? Sanchez?
It went exactly how you said it was going to go.
Yep. Wrestling 101. Jarrett
I like
Brooks.
Brooks going forward.
With Brooks as well, he ended up coming in short notice on 5 days' notice and actually passed out on the way.
Oh, yeah, from
back.
the Octagon.
The Octagon. Did we get any clarification as to officially what happened to him?
No, I still don't know what happened to him, and I don't know if he's safe at all.
Let be conspiracy here. He had 5 days' notice. I don't care who you are. He was in shape to go. He extenuated himself dramatically, got really tired, and after he had the adrenaline dump after talking to Rogan, the 5 day stuff, on the way back, that adrenaline dump got him, and he, whoop, night, took a little nap skis. Was probably better. I haven't seen anything as of yet.
Like a little syncope, like a little just so much that it's just like full.
On 5 days' notice, he went 3 hard rounds. I mean, you can be getting ready for 5 days' notice. You're in the shape you're in, and you're fighting. Your cardio is what you have. So I think in the real fight, he would have been able to go 5 rounds because he prepared for it. But 5 days' notice, something I like with Jarrett Brooks is he can go to that 125, but he fought at 125, but he's a lighter guy. He's in that 115 range, but we don't have that weight class yet.
He's dangerous going forward. I like Jarrett Brooks.
Very, very. Then we move on to a fight of the year contender in Lucy Pudilova versus Irene Aldana. One of the few other fights that went to decision, but this is an instant classic. If you have UFC Fight Pass, get on there and watch this. You know what?
I love it. I think it was a great fight, but I feel like the expectation was so low. That's why the fight was so good.
I think that regardless
I don't think
of
if
who
it was
is,
just...
If two people bite down on their mouthpieces and go at it the way those women did, your fans are gonna.
I love it. I think it was a great fight. I just don't know if it was one of the fights of the year. But I loved it. And it was, my expectations for this fight were so low that if I didn't tell you on air, it would have been the one where I'm like, this is the one where you go make your potato salad. This is the fight you walk out to make your potato salad. This will be the lowest female fight of the night. You know what? The ladies friggin' brought it for 2-2.
Brought it. Absolutely.
And it was all a bunch of fights after Shevchenko fell out. I was like,
well, there goes a lady fight.
But this is one of, I would say, the classic, because they were fighting at 135, right?
Correct.
And there isn't a lot going on at 135, that it's just like a reminder of, oh, good, there's some talent still at 135. There's still ladies up there that are turning it on. And, yeah. For 135, best fight of the year. For the 135.
I think women's division, it's an instant classic, as I was saying before. It's one of those that you can just go back. Lots of fun. Where do you go with either one of these ladies? So Aldana wins a split decision in a closely contended bout. I feel like we called it here at LaTB, saying that Aldana would be moving backwards more than Pudlova, but we just thought the forward pressure might end up getting her the scorecards. Fortunately, unfortunately for us, it went the other way.
Well, I had Aldana.
Oh, well, unfortunately for me, it went the other way.
But both of us discussed that we didn't care who won. Before the judges picked, we both were split either way, and we could have been biasly watching it. We both decided, because we both had different girls, and the way it went, we were like, okay, totally.
Yep, I totally agree. And
they were 1-1 going into the third, and the third could have been okay.
100%. If it would have went Pudlova's way, I would be just as in the same
boat. It's like Aldana controlled more time, but Pudlova was more damage laid. I don't know. Great fight.
Great fight. Have you seen Aldana's photo of the x-ray of her right hand, I believe? Broken pinky. What is this? The flat part of the pinky hand where you get the most judo chop action from.
Oh, yeah, where you're breaking your wood.
Yep, exactly.
Your wood breaker. Hi-ya!
Especially after this one.
Where your hi-ya and your Jackson Wink hi-yas.
Exactly. Nasty break for her, so she had some adversary to get through in that fight. But then we ended up going... Adversity. What am I thinking?
Adversary. And that's what I thought. It was like a mix. And anniversary.
A little Spanglish in there, you're welcome. So then we had a longtime veteran...
It's just because you're excited. We have to slow down.
30.
Need some of your medicine.
Jim Miller.
Old grandma's cough syrup.
Yeah, it was. I was hyped all night. It was on a buzz. It was such a fun night. And that one... Again, fun one we had before this.
Oh, Jim Miller.
Then Jim Miller comes in being the most tenure fighter of all time, 30 fights in the UFC. We thought he was shot.
Was he the most? I thought it was Diego Sanchez was the most tenured.
And then Jim Miller just beat him with this fight, I believe. That's what I'm saying. It's like them two. And Jim Miller comes in as an underdog, defeating Alex White decisively in the first round. 1:30 over. It's a straight... left, right, left, second left hand ended up knocking down Alex White, cutting him over his head. Jim Miller sinks in the submission, and wow. I guess coming back from that gasoline is the best thing you ever did in your life, Alex White.
Both these fights that we're about to talk about, we did something... Yes, Jim Miller and Diego Sanchez needed to be faded.
Yes.
But we did something where maybe not by these two dudes. No offense to the white guys. But they haven't done enough to maybe cut the heads off of legends in the sport, so to speak.
Maybe the fade train got a little too heavy.
Yeah, we just...
I jumped on the fade, and I feel like we said it for both fighters.
They're both... Still, I agree with you. I think they're both faded. I just think they're two fighters that... The white that Jim Miller beat is UFC caliber. The white that Diego Sanchez beat is not.
Agreed. 1,000,000%. So,
I'd like Diego Sanchez now. Well, I know we're going to talk about it, but I feel like these two fights, so much of them are really similar.
Agreed.
He's like, now I'm coming for the belt, and I'm like, oh no.
So we're talking about Diego Sanchez. Real quick, where do you go with Alex White? He didn't really get to show much of himself in this. Jim Miller stays where he's at as well.
Yeah.
I mean... They don't really move anywhere. White should have won, so maybe he loses a little more stock than Miller.
A bummer for Daner. Hey, Daner.
Daner.
He set up this whole fight night with the idea of who he was almost, they were set up fights for a bunch of guys that he's like, I'll put these good looking kids on. Like the same thing as Darren Till. And all these guys that I'm over with, I can get them on out of here.
Woo! Over with. Bold statement by Lesbo early on in the show.
He didn't even show up to talk afterward at the presser. Or if he did, he didn't even say anything to Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, like, he already left? The reporters told Tyron Woodley that Dana already left.
Interesting. I did not catch
and you
the
know
post.
The gifts that everyone has going out that are, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yes, I love them.
Well, it shows, like, Tyron Woodley beating Till's ass and Dana watching with the sad face. And then when they're about to hold up whose hand wins at the end, Dana behind Tyron Woodley with the long distance stripper stare, 1,000-mile stare.
1,000-mile, exactly.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So,
anyway, way ahead of time. Sorry.
Post-fight presser did
This
go
episode
on.
should be called 228, shot out of a cannon. We are shot out of a cannon.
We ended up, I ended up not watching the post-fight presser, haven't caught up on it. I tried to stay up for it, but it wasn't showing up. Twitterverse was blowing up, but it was late. I was a few bottles in, and it was night time before I knew it. I do know Dana White did not show up. I do know T. Wood was not the favorite they wanted to go, and there's a lot of speculation left. But before the post-show, before all that, we had Diego Sanchez come in and avenge the kiss on his nose.
And having deja vu on air, like I'm even having deja vu about saying this, but remind me if I don't remember by the end to bring up Snoop Dogg.
All right.
Okay.
I'll bring in Snoop-a-loop. So what you don't do, you don't kiss Diego on the nose because then you get teabagged in the ring. It was a one-sided...
You want to kiss me on the face? How about you kiss D's nuts?
How about you kiss D's taint, homie? Get your ass out of here, Craig White. You are garbage. Not to say Diego Sanchez is garbage because he's not, but he was out-grappled. Craig White was out-grappled, out-struck, out everything by one of the longest veterans, one of the most worn fighters in the UFC. Unreal Diego Sanchez came through here. Wow, Craig White sucks. Gonna be a big fade if he gets another shot in the UFC.
Dallas really got a show.
They really did.
Everyone was on their feet for every single fight. And this was one that people are like, shut the fuck up.
Unreal.
Diego Sanchez.
So 170 pounds, Kamaru Usman, T. Wood, be careful. Diego's coming for you.
Kamaru Usman weighed in. Did you see him on the scale first?
I did see him. He made some money to weigh in. Good for him. I saw him face off against Shevchenko. Wonder when that battle is going on.
It's clever on both their parts to pay attention to social media enough and to clown with it. And for him to clown enough with it that people aren't so sensitive that they'll be like, that is inappropriate for him to square off with a woman. Like, for them to both be
Yeah.
Like, I think it was clever. The fucking ice cream.
Ice cream, it's that time of year. Woo! Getting into the sweet stuff. We had the dentist come in and have to take out one of them cavities of Charles Byrd, decided favorite. Darren Stewart was getting pieced up that entire first round. Second round came around, and Stewart landed a shot that started off a flurry, which Byrd could not come back from. As I was saying, Stewart was getting his ass kicked until he wasn't. It takes one shot in this sport to turn it around, and a lot of people didn't see this coming. I didn't see too many people have Stewart.
I felt like there was the time right before Stewart made the shot that Byrd was getting the better of him, but before that, I felt like it was a 50-50, and I was instantly regretting picking Byrd.
As a 2-1 favorite, almost 3-1 favorite by closing lines.
Like, seeing them in there, I didn't know enough about them to make this pick. And when Shevchenko fell out, a lot of my DraftKings cards, I had so much money left over that I just bought the most expensive fighter to fill it in. And a lot of the times that was Byrd. And until that moment, I was staying all the way from this fight. I didn't put it on anything. Mm-hmm. So if she wouldn't have fallen out, I would have had a better of a night, of course. I'm just assuming that she was going to win. But I had an awful prelims, great main card.
Nice.
And I tried to stay with most. I usually tend to try to bet the main card people the most.
Main cards do tend to be money fights as far as betting. A lot of people put down heavier bets just because they're more known of fighters. That's why you here at LaTB, if you're subscribing and listening, you're getting full card breakdowns. There's a lot of work to be done in those. It can be tough at times, but none of these fights am I just like, oh, I did something wrong.
I loved it. A lot of
they were so fucking close. Yeah, they were so close. So the knee, or where do we go with Bird?
These guys were going back and forth.
Yeah,
they were
scrapping.
And they were so big to be throwing on each other so hard and taking the hits they were. Yeah, I was impressed by both dudes.
I like them both going forward.
They're both scary guys going forward.
I totally agree with that as well. Then we had a knockout of the year contender with Neil versus Camacho. The local Neil ended up coming in and tagging up Camacho, throwing laser beam strikes down the middle. Camacho getting beat up in the first round. Did Camacho at one point in down do a Wolverine? He kind of slapped his face and was like, "Let's go! Woo!" And was fucking fired up, all sorts of fired up.
He got hurt somewhere, and that made him do it. And
right?
Here's what I have to say. Get on out of here, Camacho. Get on out of here.
If you do that kind of shit.
No, period. I didn't like anything I saw from him inside the octagon, and I just think he's in danger if he stays in the UFC because the caliber of fighters is just past. And Neil, I think it's dangerous going forward because Camacho got some shots on him that I'm like, ooh. I don't know how I feel about Neil going forward, and I know I don't want to see
really,
Camacho
I find
in this
that I like Neil's. I'm not gonna go all Darren Till type of hype on him, but I think Neil is gonna be a force in the division. Not no championship stuff yet, but he looked unreal with that striking. Camacho, as I was saying here before on the breakdown, those looping punches against good strikers are gonna get you eaten alive. Camacho likes to brawl. I think he can beat a lot of other guys. He needs to change his mind, though, if he thinks that putting his hands down and yelling is a good idea, because you will catch a baseball bat to the face. And Camacho, it took him 4 or 5 minutes to wake up.
I only thought he was putting his hands down and yelling because he was getting tagged.
Hit so much,
hit
yeah.
so hard.
He was so frustrated.
It was painful.
Yeah.
That he was like, ow! But instead he had to let out like a...
frustration.
I don't know.
Yep.
I think... Stay away from Camacho the whole rest of... If he's in the UFC, put money on the other person he's fighting.
I think that's matchup dependent, totally. So,
and Neil, don't jump on a huge hype train because he just beat Camacho.
Camacho, I would agree with that. I do like where he's going, but people, it's going to be harder to get cheap money on Neil. Or cheaper money on Neil.
And I was just thinking right before you said this fight that, oh, look, we're giving every single fighter love today. That's really nice of us. And then I was like, get on out of here.
Get out of here. You think so? I think Magacha still got a job in the UFC. Took him about 5 minutes to get up off the mat, though. He finally got up to get his hand not raised, but pretty scary knockout. He was. The pictures going around of that dude just night, and it wasn't the only one. Then we ended up going to Cody Stamann versus Aljamain Sterling. This being finished in the second round via knee bar. What a unique way to get a finish. We've only had one of these before, and it was in the 2006-2007. A wrestler came in and said he used it collegiately, and it's illegal in collegiate wrestling to grab that backwards ankle and pull it because it essentially turns into a calf slicer for the thighs. Aljamain Sterling had both a full mount in, and he just grabbed for the back leg. Cody Stamann's leg popped all sorts of ways. He tapped immediately, but prior to that, Sterling was getting the better of those exchanges. Initially, I thought Stamann looked good with the takedown defense. In the first round, I thought it was a maybe 10-9 slightly
back and forth, a lot of reversals.
Sterling, barely. Actually, Stamann had that first round due to the takedowns and reversals. It was a fun fight, but in that second round, Stamann started to gas dramatically for me.
Something weird happened. We talked about it. We don't know what. We don't know where he got hurt
there
or
was
what
some good
shot
body
it
shots
was.
by Sterling.
There was something that significantly happened somewhere at the beginning of the second round that Aljamain hurt Stamen. I'll have to rewatch it all back. Significantly, that everything changed. Like, his cardio dropped 25% instantly.
Yep.
And you saw it, just like him become a noodle.
Wilt a little bit.
Yeah, you
totally.
saw it.
Totally.
I am it's so funny how much I love it, and I don't know everything about holds. Like, sometimes I think certain things are more dangerous than they are, but I know enough that I looked away from this. Like, I knew everything that I can't look at this. It would be like if you heard the music start of like a horror movie that you knew the monster was going to pop out soon. That's where I'm like...
You're waiting for an alien to come out of the back of that
Yeah,
knee?
No, not doing it. So I just...
So the second time we've ever seen a knee bar from this position.
I don't know if I'll remember this. Everyone, remind me. I need to stop underestimating Aljamain. I think he's dangerous in this division. I think he's very, very dangerous.
He got a lot of hype, did do well, and I don't think that I give Aljamain Sterling as much credit as he should, because the amount of hype he had made me think, oh no, this dude's garbage. I was just seeing something I went, and he isn't garbage. He just was getting pushed a little too heavily. We all know how that's like until, but I mean, we have to, again, they are elite athletes, but sometimes the UFC matches them with opponents like Caraway or people that are way sneakily
stiflers,
way harder fights than we thought. But I potentially thought that Tatiana Suarez was going to have one of these grinding, stifling fighters, and Carla Esparza was none of it. Not at all. Suarez went in for the takedowns nonstop, chain wrestling nonstop. Carla Esparza would fight the initial takedown well, but once that second and third attempt came in, Tatiana Suarez was just able to manhandle Carla Esparza in every avenue. This is the new generation coming and taking over the old. Esparza was willing to just lose a decision in there, and Suarez was like, fuck that bitch, you going out of here. Dropping all sorts of disgusting elbows all over Esparza. This is a changing of the guard. You were also
saying that it is perfect changing of the guard, and you were also pointing out the amazing chain wrestling of Suarez. And like the next level. And Esparza a few times, but just not as many times.
She would stop. All of a sudden, you'd see her stop, and Suarez kept moving.
The strength and length. Like, it was a whole different thing.
Woo, I like that. I'm going to have to use that later.
The old strength and length.
So, where do you go with Esparza? She beats other women, but title contention, not anymore.
Unless there's a smaller division, Carla is at her stunted point. Unless there's a lower weight class. And I don't know how, even if she could get down to a lower weight class. But Suarez, if she can cut this weight comfortably, I was watching her in the embeddeds leading up to this. One, I remember loving her, and I swear I said on air, remind me, I'm not going to remember I like her, and I really like her, blah, blah, blah. She is female Khabib. I know that's what everyone's calling her.
Nonstop.
And I believe she can... Carla Esparza was finding openings in the stand-up. And if Carla Esparza, who her hands, we've given him compliments, and she's been getting better. If Carla was finding openings in Suarez's stand-up, Rose 100% will find those openings. But, same as Carla Esparza, Rose is a tiny little 115er.
Yep.
Suarez is going to tower over her. So, this is... If I'm Rose Namajunas, JJ, easier fight than the two ladies coming up the pipe at her right now. I am frightened for JJ. I'm sorry, Rose. I'm excited.
All of it. But I love this dimension to the 115ers.
The real question, or the real thing to do, put the two monsters against each other first, before you feed either to the champion.
But if you do, you
but
definitely have to profile it.
But it's kind of not fair. I do believe that we'll talk about Andrade when we get to her. She has earned her friggin' chance at Rose. But Suarez, Suarez is the only one in the division that even makes me question Andrade holding the belt forever.
What an interesting matchup, and of course people are calling
I was
for
so
that.
wrong. Esparza got thrown around like a leaf.
I mean, changing of the guard, making an immediate gatekeeper for the 115 division, having that be Esparza. Esparza is the top 10 gatekeeper now, and that's forevermore. Forevermore.
Yeah.
So, then we go to one unfortunate fight. Abdul Al-Rak
Okay,
Al-Hassan.
if we're going to start there, I got off my Tapology and I went over to the new app we've been using, Verdict.
And we did score
Yeah.
these fights as much as we could have scored them.
Yeah, picking the rounds and whatnot.
And I did as well. We're going to end up having to set up a link so that fans can also see the verdict so they don't know we talking at the asses, right? Isn't there some
yeah, and you
communal
can
thing?
attach all with friends and everything. So we could
I'm still learning it.
We could have a, what's your name on there? Mine's Weak Neck Baby. The same as it is on Tapology.
I think it's Zoltan, the same as on Tapology and
Twitter.
I think it's connected to my Twitter.
Yeah, and so if you want to go on Verdict, and you can also do the rounds with us and everything, and it gives out little badges that's attached to your friends and attached to the community as a whole after each fight. So it's pretty, I like it.
I just have to remember to
And we are
use
not
it
getting
in
paid.
the main event.
We ain't getting paid to
Not
say that.
yet. Not yet.
They're never gonna
We
pay us
getting
now.
there. Joe Rogan,
Never-
we're still waiting on that paycheck. So, Al-Hassan versus Nico Price.
Elon Musk, the world's shitting their pants because he hit the joint. The stock price fell, and people are like,
He'll live. Everyone will live.
the turkeys are
We
like,
good. We're good. The kids got out of the cave. Everyone's fine. So,
okay, Abdul Razak
I know you don't want to
Al-
talk about it.
Hassan.
I know you don't
I
want
was
to
trying
talk
to
about
avoid
it.
it.
Because Nico's your boy. We had high hopes.
And are we
for
on the main
underdog.
card?
We are on the main card.
Okay.
This is the perfect time to go to the verdict. We both had submission for Nico Price. Didn't have to go to the verdict because in the first round, Al-Hassan put Nico Price out. We were hoping Price would go to the ground a bit more. Decided to stand with a heavy thrower. And, Nico Price got woken back up. He got knocked out with a left and woken back up with a right and then knocked out again, I feel like. It was a highlight finish. Nico Price.
Al Hassan reminds me of a Francis Ngannou. If you can withstand that first minute and a half, 2-minute barrage of crazy power directly at you, you can beat him. But it's surviving that minute and a half, 2 minutes. And I thought Nico could survive it. And he crumbled like a scarecrow in the middle of a windy field.
Totally. It was absolutely
And we both had
brutal.
Nico and sadly had Nico. Wow. And I don't know if he could, you know how they say, oh, if these fighters meet 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, I don't know if this fight would always go that way.
Yep.
But I don't know how I feel about Al Hassan still. I
still
know he
think
just
Al-Hassan
brutalized.
6 out of 4. 6 and 4. Nico Price wins 4 of those fights, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's all the game plan. Like I said, we were hoping he was not going to try to strike with him, go to the ground, and submit him. We both had submission, eventually getting it to the ground, getting into later rounds. But just standing there waiting to get killed, sniped out like that.
He didn't even have a chance to breathe. All that happened so fast.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was so fast. It all happened so fast. And I'm like, no. I feel like I missed it. Did that already finish? No, it was the Jim Miller fight.
No.
The Jim Miller fight, I was like, okay, he's walking into his little song. I got time.
Yeah, you did miss the Jim Miller one.
Yeah.
Yep. So, where do you go with Price? Where do you go with Hassan? Neither of these fighters really showed off too much other than the fight IQ being bad for Nico Price. And
I don't know if it was bad. I think it was stunning. It was like all of it, like walking into a 7-Eleven or a convenience store and there's a tiger inside. Maybe not walking into a convenience store, but like walking into a haunted house and there's a real tiger inside.
That would be terrifying.
That's what it seemed like. It was like he was going to fight and then a man just... It was so much forward, fast, hard pressure. It was
Would you
not.
say he looked like Carlos Esparza walking in?
He didn't even plan on fighting for 3 rounds at all. He
Nope.
planned on knocking him out in a minute. That's what it looked like. It didn't look like he was even thinking about 5 rounds. He just, I don't know, sniped him.
Unreal. But life goes on. We will see both of those guys get many a fights in the UFC. Then we ended up going to Jimmy Rivera versus John Dodson. Here the Bean was all over Dodson, thinking a decision was underway. A lot of that backwards movement would come into play, and Jimmy Rivera put a good leg kick game in together and was throwing stiff right hand right down the middle that was starting to tag Dodson. Dodson's still fast, but that gas tank and speed is starting to leave him, and those were staples in his type of Winklejohn game planning. Albuquerque game plan.
Yeah, as the fight went on, I definitely agree with you. Rivera took over, and I had it 2-1 on verdict.
I had
Rivera.
3-0 for Rivera, 10-9, all going to Rivera. So John Dodson, gatekeeper as well, totally. And unfortunately for the Magician, he's got a lot of hard ass fights on the way. There's nothing but young blood coming in, and he ain't getting any younger. How'd you feel about his hair? The whole weigh-ins, the whole workup. We never seen John Dodson with that.
It.
Me too.
But he did make me laugh when he was watching the guy weigh him in at the real weigh-ins in the morning. He's just a clown, and he always does the
a character. Yeah.
stands. I don't know. I like that guy. I still like him. I still think he has fights left. I'm still nervous about Jimmy Rivera going forward. Both the guys is contingent on their dance partners if the fight will be exciting.
Totally.
Some guys can always make for an exciting fight. Other guys, it's like... And John Dodson's one of those guys. I never get really excited if he's on a card.
Totally agree. He
seems like a nice guy.
He's in that spot.
I think he's talented AF. I think he deserves to be in the UFC still, obviously. I just am never that excited.
It's his own doing mainly.
Speaking of, did you see that Tony Ferguson and Pettis are right under the co-main event for 229?
Woo! That's getting so hot. That's getting so steep. I mean, if they were wanting to contest this type of a fight night, they got one right down the motherfucking line. Another pay-per-view that they're trying to cap off the end of the year with some good-ass fight cards, to tell you what.
That is so much energy in the room at one time.
Woo! But
the backstage antics.
Here, that be conspiracy. From what we saw this weekend, from what we've been seeing, are they just setting up so if one of Khabib or not Conor, if Khabib falls out, we got Tony stepping right in because they both weigh in and they're trying to, if someone misses weight, they got other lightweights that are in the division ready to be belt because they need that belt in photos.
100%.
Today.
And I would even bet Kevin Lee will make weight like Usman makes weight.
Another backup to that backup.
Yeah, because what about if Pettis or Ferguson
That's
fall
what
out?
I'm saying too about them.
Like
someone else, they have other lightweights even on that card.
I think he is the Usman to that card. I think that is the one thing, credit where credit's due, that I like that the WME is doing with the UFC. I like the backups to the big fights because how often, you know what? The wrong big fight fell out though this time. They had Usman ready, but no one ready to fight Shevchenko. I think they need to do the main and co-main. How much does it cost to pad that?
No. Belts. Every belt. Any belt, any title, interim or not, belts are covered. Belts are covered.
And so do you feel like if somebody can't make weight for whatever reason, the champions make weight. If you don't make weight, you get stripped. What do you think about that? That's not championship shit.
I agree with that. If a champion ever doesn't make weight, he's not a champion because, agreed. Champions make weight.
Yeah.
You don't you don't hold on to the belt and retention. If anything, the belt goes up and the two guys under you fight because you didn't make weight.
I think so too. Like it just becomes an open title.
Yep.
And if there was the prepared for the belt, those two guys get to fight for the belt now. It's a vacant title, like held over the fucking match, like when they went like a ladder match.
Don't give up our secrets. Don't give up where we're getting all of our. So with Rivera, still, he's got a title. He's a young man. He's still got his title aspirations. Another title contender is Zabit Magomed Sharipov against Brandon Davis. This being the third knee bar from that mounted position ever, 2 in one night. Zabit ended up easily taking the first round over Davis. Davis gave a valiant effort, was never out of it, was there to fight, but got overwhelmed quickly by Zabit.
There was a movie. It's kind of old. Oh, Blade Runner. They did the remake of it though recently, and they ride these weird motorcycles that hover. That is exactly what Zabit turned Brandon Davis into. He looked just like, or what the stormtroopers fly through the Ewok village.
He's the bike?
That's what he turned Brandon Davis
That's
into.
What he looked like,
yeah, he looked like a hovering bike. He had his leg out long, and like if he would have been like, zoom, 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 it was like, holy shit! I've never seen that happen in the UFC. That was new to my. And I know it happened that night, but it was just from the other angle.
Well, what I would say is, Aljamain Sterling more pulled inwards to the knee, so he bent it inside, whereas Zabit pulled it straight back.
So Aljamain Sterling crisscrossed the applesauce, where
Zabit went straight back.
Was like, I'm gonna take your knee back to your shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna put
and he was on top of him while he did it, like on top of his rear end. It was so weird.
It was a spladle. He caught him in a spladle.
That's what
for wrestling, and then pulled on that knee. From what I remember in wrestling, you could get a pin out of that position, or you pull the leg and ruin the knee. Davis thought about not tapping. Out of the two knee bars, Stamen is going to have a long recovery because ligaments were torn.
And Brandon Davis is free to pick up another fight
because it was straight back, but that's how much an angle does sideways.
And he probably made more money than he's ever made.
Davis?
Yeah, more money than he's ever made. Got tons of promo for his name, and no one thought he was going to win anyway, so a no loss. Like, it's really a great move for him that he picked up this fight.
The only better spot would have been who did it.
I don't want a loss on my record.
Bochniak against Zabit, where he lost as well, but did those 3 amazing rounds. Not a loss. That guy's come back and won a few fights.
Bochniak was short notice as well, right?
Yeah, because...
So here's something, miss all the other people that say people don't fall out of fights. Seems like a lot of people seem to fall out of fights with Zabit, too.
Truth.
And
good point.
This isn't the first time for Shevchenko that people have fallen out of fights with her.
And Shev was saying it. She was saying it all before.
She also said it about Amanda Nunes before the Amanda Nunes pulled out the first time. She's like, she wants some huge advantage over me, and it's going to be hard for her. She's going to have to make sacrifices, like, you know, with her weight and everything. And then all of a sudden she couldn't because of her cyanitis. But we both thought it was going to be a weight cut.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm just still bitter. We've been team bully here for far too long.
Far too long. We're ready to move on.
I was ready to give Suarez her
already? Yeah. Uncrowned champion.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter now.
Whoa.
Bullet's still the bullet.
Slow down, WME UFC over there. Jeez. Uncrowned champion over here just wanted to hand it over.
I did. That's why I like the fights where it's like, I love Rose, but I'm nervous for her. But I've been nervous for her the whole time. I was nervous for her against JJ.
I'm nervous for everybody. Now, as it goes on, now I'm like, don't do it. Don't know it. She didn't have to. I wasn't ready. She
didn't have to be decapitated.
It didn't have to be KK that had to get one punch knockout. Co-main event came in. KK, I love you, girl. It's over. Not over. You have many, many fights. It was over that night. You went night-night. Thank you for not making Andrade go over and keep punching her in the face, ref. Even though, and they're giving Mergulliata all this hype like, oh, good job. Good thing he stood in there. You don't have to be any good ref. KK flopped to the ground like a little sexy jellyfish. And was just,
I don't think, felt like she timbered. She timbered from the ankles down.
And then had bounced right off of the mat. Oh.
But I feel like I said the fight was going to go exactly like that. And I felt like I even said it's going to be painful for everyone to watch.
Oh.
For KK to get murked like that.
I think I have amnesia. What is that? Localized amnesia. I didn't want it.
I love KK, but I don't think she's as... I think Jessica Andrade is far better than her, and she's going to murk her.
I was hoping it was going to go to a decision.
But I thought it was going to be a ground and pound, and I did not think it was going to be a sniping.
Not even a sniping. That was a nuclear holocaust. She hit her with a bomb from Japan. That girl was out. Woo! It was at no point in time, though, did KK ever really look like she was getting the better of that fight. Andrade
she
looked
got a
better
couple
than her
good
everywhere.
shots in there, but Andrade, like...
was just throwing power shots in there. I mean, Andrade, Suarez, JJ, Rose... What other 115ers do you want to throw in there? We got a heavy injection of action to the 115ers.
Who is a threat to Jessica Andrade right now in the 115?
Suarez. Easy.
I know, but isn't
Everyone's
that funny
been
that you
saying
didn't
it.
say the champion?
Also the champion, but I think that it's the road to the champion more so than the champion to one of them.
Yeah, but don't you think Jessica Andrade has earned her next fight to be for Rose?
Not against KK. I think JJ is the fight to get to Rose.
But Rose needs a fight? Who's Rose fight next? It's only Andrade.
Dang. Either Andrade or Suarez right now, unfortunately,
That's
because
it.
he just fought. That sucks. But again, that's, a double shot of action that we've been looking for at the 115 division.
Wow.
Finally, it's there. A lot of
We've
people
been
said it
talking
couldn't
about
be
the
done.
115 for a bit. We've been saying that it's one of
Yeah.
the better divisions in the UFC for a long time.
And you didn't need to surgically implant any ladies in here.
Because you're forgetting totally in this whole conversation, to me, the biggest threat, Andrade, yes, and I think Claudia Gadelha.
Still, even though Andrade just got through her handedly. That's why
I
think
don't
you have
mean
a
for
good point.
Andrade, I mean for Suarez.
Oh, yes, that would be the other fight too. Totally.
That's a hard one for Suarez.
Yeah. Woo!
I mean,
don't
if
know
she
about now.
handles, yeah, she could handle her,
I don't know
but
about now.
Esparza and Claudia, that was sketchy last time.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Wow. The women's 115 is hot.
All I want to say, the last thing I want to take away from that is it didn't have to be KK.
It did
Why
not.
could it be like Lisa Landsberg or who's the other one? Who's the redhead? Megan Anderson. Not Megan Anderson. No.
If we were going to watch it, it'd have to be, if you had to watch a 115-pound woman
Jessica.
be the first to get knocked out. That's what everyone keeps saying, to be the first to get knocked out. In my opinion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk was knocked out just as long in the Rose fight as KK was knocked out in the Andrade fight.
No. No.
So both woke right back up.
I think JJ was right back up where KK was like on the ground, like who just hit me?
No way, she wasn't Ronda Rousey. She wasn't full Ronda Rousey. But at the 115, that was pretty intense. That was like something different.
We haven't seen that in the 115 in a long time.
So if you had to watch it be a woman at 115 be the first to get knocked out ever, who would it be?
Jessica I is a 125er now, right? Was she a 115er at one point in time?
No, never. She was 135.
I'm going to go with...
KGB Lee.
No. Jessica.
She's used to it. That's why I was just wondering.
I was gonna say-
She's used to getting knocked out.
Moyle. Jessica Moyle? Is that her name? Jessica Moyle?
I don't know.
Jolene Moyle. So...
It just hurt that it was KK.
It was just her KK, that little lady. To the main event we go. Finally, LaTB coming through with an underdog all week long. You saw that plus money. If you're following the Bean at Zoltanite on Twitter or at Weekneck Baby, you're getting some sort of free picks and or retweets right before. T Woods showing everyone why he's one of the most tenured champs. The hype did not come through until we both saw it here. We thought it was going to go a little bit longer. At least I did, thinking it was going to be in the fourth round. T Wood got it done in the second with, though, What do we say here nonstop? That overhand right. The whole time. If something knocks Till down, it's going to be that overhand right. And that was the beginning of the end for Darren Till. He got flattened by that right and ended up eating elbows until he finally got submitted. One of Tyron Woodley's few submissions in the game.
It was devastating. And Till is like, he isn't a better fighter than me. He's just better today.
I don't know what you saw in there.
And then he also said he couldn't even knock me out. And I was thinking, if you guys were on the street, he would have killed you.
1,000,000%.
With his hands.
Yes.
You're lucky.
He would have put you to sleep and not let go until
There was
you
things
died.
that there was rules inside there that saved your life.
100%.
Please give him some friggin' credit, kid. You might be one day the best fighter ever. Your time's still to come. You're a young guy.
Agreed.
But please don't say. There was times that I thought it should have been stopped earlier than it was because it was hard to watch him get so many elbows in his head.
You could say that if that went 5-round decision and it went like 3-2 what way, but if you got finished in the second round, come on, man.
And everyone's like, what's next for Darren Till? What's next for Darren Till? And in my opinion, Darren Till takes 6 months, beefs up a little bit, moves up to 185.
I was about to say, Thiago Marreta Santos, thank you very much. Fucking give me that fight all day. Let's see who the better striker is. Let's go 85, the gorilla. All day. My vote, Thiago Santos welcomes Darren Till. That's a top 10. Boom! Into the 185.
That's a good fight. For some reason, I know they're doing
They're not going to the ground.
Rockhold Weidman. They're talking about it, but I don't think Luke Rockhold wants to fight at 185 anymore. He is chinny AF at 185.
I'd agree
but
with
I think Darren Till Weidman, that's a fun fight.
I think Weidman's getting in that 185. He's 36-ish, isn't he? I think he's a little bit older. I think Weidman's limited, and unless he's fighting top 3 guys for the beltish.
I think Till's a big enough name that he might take it, especially if he thinks he can beat him.
I get all those fights. That's what I'm saying, though. Till, get up to 85.
185. You make it a more interesting division.
Don't flip me off when you make me question you about making weight because you didn't make weight twice before. Don't flip me off. That don't make any sense to me at all. Here at LaTB, we don't condone that type of idiocracy.
The conspiracy that we said on the show as well of it cannot go to decision. It cannot go to decision for Tyron Woodley because they will strip him of his belt. They want Till to be the champion so bad. And it looked like Tyron Woodley knew that shit.
Oh, it looked like, or did they get broken apart from the clinch in the first minute of the first
You are so
round?
Right. You are so right.
They wanted Till to win. Why do you think Dana White? Because Dana White paid off the freaking ref, paid off Adelaide Bird judging this motherfucker. Fucking the first minute, T Wood has his back and is trying to get him down, and they break it, go down in the middle, no fence grab, nothing.
It was weird.
It was unbelievable. That happened twice, I believe, in the first round. Then T Wood's out of put your ass on the ground, and I could hear those elbows still. At night, I could still hear those. I mean, T Wood was landing unreal hard. There's just, what do you take from it?
Oh my gosh, so the Snoop Dogg thing?
Yeah,
he was filming the fight or periscoping or doing something, and he was like, yeah, N-word, yeah, take that, F Trump. And I'm like, does he not know that's not Colby Covington?
That is hilarious. Why do you think Snoop Dogg wasn't invited back to the Contender Series? I'm just saying. I wonder why.
I know. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. Snoop Dogg smokes a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Lot.
So T Woods is probably getting Colby Covington next. And I didn't hear anything about Colby Covington being stripped from his interim belt.
Me neither.
So I think Colby Covington gets T Woods next, and as quickly as T Woods wants to take it, Dana will book that fight.
The Great White Hope.
Yeah, Dana will book that fight. I love that Tyron came out and did this to Darren Till.
Love it. Me too. But we
The
called it. We
real
saw
gorilla.
a finish. We saw
That's
a
what
finish.
Snoop Dogg
We
said
saw
that I did like, though. He goes, "Oh, they call you the gorilla? Meet King Kong, motherfucker."
Boom!
I like that.
I loved it.
So we have a fight on Sunday. So we will bring you a full fight breakdown. Who is it Sunday? What are we getting into?
Oh, I was looking at it earlier. I was getting my beak wet, and it looked juicy. It is going to end up being
UFC
Olenek Hunt. That's going to have the likes of Andrei Arlovsky, Jan Blachowicz, Mark Hunt, Thiago Alves.
Where is it? Singapore or something?
I don't know where
Or
exactly
Kansas.
it's at.
I
No,
really
it's
have no
definitely in the other part
Is it
of
at
the
a weird
world.
time? It's probably a Sunday
think it
fight
is.
card or something.
Let me see real quick. It's gonna be a Saturday 10:30 a.m. Fight Pass card coming out of
Yeah, check your local listings.
Moscow. Motherfucking Moscow.
Oh, this
We
is
in
the Russia card.
We in Russia.
They're testing the waters for the real Connor fight.
Let me see what
Something
names.
sketchy is going to happen in this fight. They have no intentions of it going down. Something sketchy is going to go down in this fight that it doesn't go down.
Well,
So they can
your
have-
crystal ball's pretty on. It's been pretty on. Something weird's gonna happen before this fight card because it adds for the last.
I don't know if 229 is going to go down. Connor Khabib this time. They're going to this is all just to build steam for the real card that they will have in Russia next year.
Are you saying UFC fighters are gonna be held hostage?
I'm saying the real main event of
Khabib's behalf.
229 is going to be Ferguson Pettis. And that's why they even haven't pushed the card too much. And the UFC already
we
knows
can
it, and that's not why.
Oh, we can keep
Let's
speculating.
go. Let's
There's so
get out
much
of here.
fun.
All right. We'll talk to you guys Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and we heart you.
Lesbo and The Bean!
Thanks for listening to LaTB. For all things Lesbo and The Bean, head over to lesboandthebean.com or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.